Today I thought I'd take a trip to Bathsheba, from Bathsheba to Speightstown to Bridgetown and back to Bathsheba. And I got down to Bathsheba and I was panning the beach and I saw this little statue in the corner. And I caught it in my video, but I didn't pay too much attention to it or the significance of it until I got back home this afternoon and got a text from Jeannie that said Nancy died. Nancy is Jeannie's older sister, or one of Jeannie's older sisters. Of course, she was distraught and her mother was quite distraught. I had really intended to show you the footage from my trip. Thought it was really cool. Taking different buses and doing a kind of a cycle around, and taking some of the videos. It's pretty cool, but I couldn't do the video after I got that text. And then that little monument came back to mind. And so I thought I would share a different story with you. Several weeks ago, I started out doing the same thing, just taking a trip. It was a very unusual day, really. I got held up. Each time I tried to go out the door, something held me up. I don't know what it was. And I missed the government bus. As I passed by the little rum shop, the owner yelled at me, "Where are you going? You just missed the bus." I said, "I know." I said, "Something kept me back." And she said, "You need to go back home. You missed that bus for a reason." Well, I didn't pay much attention. Really didn't mind too much because I intended to go to the beach that morning. Anyway, a minibus came along, not one that normally runs the route. I got on that minibus. The guy drove like a madman, going around those corners through those limestone cliffs like crazy. The bus was full of people. And then he got to Market Hill. Market Hill was a little congested. And the moment he slowed down, the back tire on the van blew out. Completely blew out. Of course, he pulled off the road to fix it. We all jumped out of the car and waited for other transportation. I contemplated the words in my head from the shopkeeper. "You don't need to go anywhere." So I waited in the sun to go back in the opposite direction to come back home. Bus didn't come for an hour and a half. So I says, "What? To France with it. I'm going to town." So I caught a minivan from Market Hill and I went to town. Once I got into town, I walked down Broad Street, down into the Lower Green, I guess you used to call it bus station. I caught a bus to Speightstown. I decided I was going to go all the way back to Bathsheba by going to Speightstown. Anyway, I got to Speightstown. The guy says, "You could have caught a bus that was going to Bathsheba from the Lower Greens." But I got off the bus in Speightstown anyway. Start walking around. I walk into this little place here called the Adult Alternative. And the moment I walked into that place, it's a little restaurant and bar. I wanted to get something to eat. The moment I walk into that place, they were playing the song "Wind Beneath My Wings" by Bette Midler. Now this is significant for us, significant for me, because that was the song that was played at Serena's funeral. One of her schoolmates sang it. Esha Garrett was her name, I believe, at the time, sang that song. I thought it was really strange, but nonetheless, it was only the beginning of the day that I would hear that song. Well, I got onto a bus heading to Bashaba from Speightstown. And got to Bashaba, got off the bus, and I walked along the beach and I came upon this family of about 6 people, Caucasian folks, and one guy was sitting there with a long telephoto lens filming the surfers. His name is Alan Burke. I sat, introduced myself, and us being both photographers, we chatted for a while about photography. He had 2 sons out in the ocean surfing. One is a professional surfer and the other one is a very good surfer. And then we talked a lot about surfing and children and photography. As it turned out, that monument that I talked about was a monument that was to a surrogate son of his who fell while surfing and died right there at Bashaba. You know, one of the things Alan said to me is, he says, Stan, I just haven't gotten over it yet. And I reminded him, Alan, the death of a child, even a surrogate child, the death of a loved one is not something you get over. You learn how to manage your grief. And of course, and I shared with him my story of walking into the adult alternative in Speightstown and how that song brought back the memories. Today I really wanted to show you the footage from my trip. But when I got home and I saw that text from Jeannie, I know I could not do that footage. I know I needed to tell this story. And so I'm telling this story today as a tribute to Nancy, Jeannie's sister, who's died. More importantly, to offer some condolences to Jeannie, my spouse, and her siblings, her remaining siblings, and especially to her mother, Mom, we call her, Evie Dykstra, Mom. She lives with us. She's been living with us for about 12 or 13 years. And since she's been living with us, we've seen her bury 1 daughter. Now she's burying a 2nd daughter. We understand how difficult that is. We understand what Alan was thinking. And so today we say goodbye to Nancy and condolences to all of her remaining brothers and sisters. You know, Nancy and her family spent a lot of time in the Northwest. She was born in Everett, Washington. And it's a beautiful place up here in Washington. And so, in honor of her, I'm going to show you some footage of some things that she might have seen on the roads around Washington and Oregon and different places like that as she traveled. And so hopefully you enjoy these images. Some you've seen before, but I thought I would share them again. And so as you think of her, thank you. Rest in peace, Nancy.